I'm gonna go outside.
Oh. Yeah, because we just lost.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
Fired up footballers. Moot is joining me here after the match.
Yeah. That stunk.
Oh, wow. It seemed like a crash from the beginning. Oh, man. I am getting a lot of me.
You are? Crap.
Yeah, dude, I'll just talk less. You talk more.
Shoot. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Or should I? Give me 1 second. Let me go see if I can find. I might have some earbuds. Let me check.
Earbuds would help a little bit. I wish I could delay this. If I could make a delay, that might alleviate some issues. Hello, everybody in the live chat. What's going on? I'll take a look over there. It's going to take a minute as we get this thing going. Moot's joining us just after the fact after a 2-1 loss to the St. Louis, whatever the heck they are. We shouldn't have lost to them. The Fire came out. They looked like they were rocking for the first, 10, 20 minutes. Then they fell asleep. And after falling asleep, they got scored on twice. Hockey mushrooms. There it is. All right, here we go. Jiggly. James, you got an echo. Might be feedback. Should you get earbuds? Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jiggly. We got Jiggly on moderating. I wish I could do that. That'd be cool.
Can you guys hear me?
You a moderator. Cool. Jiggly, you're a moderator now for the channel. You can do what you want. Welcome to the live chat, everybody. Welcome after the fact. Fire losing 2-1 in Nelson Rodriguez's most vaunted tournament. The tournament trophy, the tournament coach has been undone by a USL team and USL coach. Quite an accolade to put on their notoriety, on their details, saying that they had beaten. Oh, there you are. Headphones aren't working?
No.
All right, I'll just try and mess with the audio and like turn your mic on when I start talking.
Okay.
Over.
All right. Yeah. Well, hopefully this works. Sorry about my technical difficulties here. Just unbelievable. I mean, just a very lackluster performance from the team. I'm going to say it again. I know he's my friend, but Brant Bronico, again, the only one who was like he gave a damn out there, to be quite honest. The team looked half asleep. I don't know why this German guy is starting in that. I cannot, Kron, whatever his name is. David
about that, I can believe that Usted didn't start.
Alstead is one of the best goalkeepers statistically in MLS, and he's not playing, and there's no explanation why. Paunovic continuing to make poor tactical decisions. I want this guy out of this club immediately. I'm done. I'm 100% done with him. And anyone who wants to defend them, good luck.
If Nelson's not done with Pauno after this is his most his important tournament to the Fire, to Hotman. It's the U.S. Open Cup. It's the only trophy that the Fire have had in the last 14 years.
I know.
So, like, for them to go losing this is a tragedy on epic proportions. And if there wasn't a fire lit underneath Paunovic's butt before, he's being walked to the guillotine right now.
I'm also just trying to get to the bottom of this Djordje Mihailovic nonsense.
So what is this Djordje Mihailovic? You were letting me know about it. You said he might have walked over to the fans or just some sort of it was recording.
Per a live video on Facebook, per a video that Steve Passmore posted, fans were upset with the team, and someone said something to Djordje Mihailovic, and he told them to quote, "Go F themselves." I understand I can't swear on this podcast, but
Thank you.
Did not say the letter F. He said the full word. Again, this is just allegedly. This is not something I'm saying he 100% did. But if it's on video and Steve Passmore reacted the way he did, and from the body language that I saw from Djordje, it looked like a very bad interaction amongst Djordje Mihailovic and Fire fans. That is what we know. That is what I have. I'm going to try to pull up the video here real quick. And also find out what this fan said, because if the fan said something worse, obviously this guy has every right to tell this fan to go, do something like that. But from what I'm hearing, it's not good. This is just not good at all.
And that's just one thing of this match. This match is a microcosm of the whole Fire project, this 3 or 4 year plan. It's all just crashing down. How did that level of talent lose to these USL side? If I was an outside observer, I would say, wow, Nico Gaetan, wow, I don't know. There are players on the Fire. Sapong looked good.
Everyone.
Players on the Fire looked decent at points tonight. And then but then you'd think that it was a preseason game with the effort that they were putting forward.
They just didn't care.
It was egregious.
I've never seen a Fire team care less more than a game than I did tonight, especially against such a poor side. The 10th place team in USL, I may add. The 10th place team. It's not like we're facing the number 1 ranked team in USL, right? It's the 10th place team.
I can't believe that this is the 10th place team. This is an argument for promotion relegation. This is, by the way, I think it was great that it was being played in St. Louis. Taylor Twum was talking about it, that this whole tournament, US Open Cup, needs to be redone with more home games for the USL level squads right here in this round, and then having no MLS squads play each other if they could avoid it. But that's maybe a discussion for later if you want to get into it, or maybe now.
I strongly disagree with Twelman's point. While it is pretty cool, at the same time, you look at all these other domestic cup competitions around the world, and I don't like comparing ourselves to other countries or, Europe or whatever, but not even throw Europe out of the equation per se. Let's talk about, like South America, right? They don't put the top tier South American teams or the Mexican teams, right, on the road to start these Open Cup games. It's all about the luck of the draw. It's an even playing field. And that's what I think every Open Cup game should be, is a luck of the draw, even playing field sort of game. Not, let's just try to get all these MLS teams knocked out and give an easy path for these, lower level teams to get to the final. As cool as it sounds, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to be, catering to a team like that.
Well, it does provide them with some much needed financial boosts, I think, with, maybe a larger contingent of away fans traveling. There's aspects and benefits of it I could see being beneficial. But also I could see what you're saying where, what difference is it really going to make when, some of these sides are just clearly inferior. Like this USL team against the Fire, but yet they still somehow won, and they're at home with USL, so maybe that is an argument against them.
I got here. Oh, here we go. You ready?
Yeah. What's going on?
I don't know. There might be some swear words, but it's not nothing terrible. So here we go. Hold on. Let me rewind a little bit. Here we go.
see.
I heard somebody say, "Go F yourself, man." I don't know if that's before or after what Jordy said.
There's a lot of commotion.
It is extremely clear that there was something that happened between him and a fan. You know what? If you don't want to be in those situations, honestly, don't go up to fans that close and say something like that. But at the same time, this is his job. People, I get, you kind of should be respectful, I guess. But I mean, there's two sides to this argument, right?
Absolutely.
There's two sides to this argument.
There absolutely is two sides. I'm going to mute you for a second. But it goes back to shit. I had mushrooms. I can still hear myself. It goes back to Tim Howard having some words with supporting Kansas City fans and having it out with them too. And those fans were swearing at him. It's like, how much abuse? And it's like, what is abuse? And what is just given and taken? What is banter? And at what point is that line crossed? We don't know what upset Georgie, but at the same token, it's like a line was crossed again in front of us, and then we see the retaliation, and it doesn't reflect well upon the Georgie.
Yeah, especially a young guy like him, coming up, he should know about this team and the history and what the Open Cup means to us. Go up to the fans and just be like, hey, guys, we're sorry. Thanks for coming out. I don't know what was said. I don't know if we're going to find out what was said. I definitely think Jordy needs to come out and say something. I don't usually think athletes owe fans anything, to be honest with you, besides a little bit of respect. But at the same time, with this sort of thing, and now we have this disconnect now between our front office and now one of our players, just not great. Not a very great situation. An already pretty crappy night ending in an even crappier way.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the Pauno talk about what's going to happen with this guy who loses this first round for the MLS against a clearly inferior side. The Fire came out. They looked like they had the ability, but they got shut down early on. Fell asleep there, and that, like you said earlier on, that lack of effort was just started creeping up, and then it just got worse.
It's the lack of it was look, I'm gonna be honest. I had trouble loading my stream at the beginning of the game. I was on the train. I was coming back from downtown. I was just, I was doing a lot of stuff. A lot of things were going on. So I started watching in the 15th minute. But from what I heard, the Fire really came out, pun intended, firing, I guess you could say. But at the same time, you can't – a soccer game is 90 minutes, not 15 minutes. You want to come out and, get a hot start. That's great. That's fine. But, as a professional team, as a professional organization in MLS, it is trying to grow the way it is. You can't go out and play that slowly. The remaining, 30 minutes of the half, 30 minutes to call it 35 with stoppages of the half. And I think anyone with a brain would agree with me there.
And not to mention the defensive lapses that led up those goals. One on a set piece and another just like, where were these guys' heads? That's what I was wondering when I saw that.
Yeah. I'm just at a loss for words.
Hold on, I got a couple of notes written down here. Let me refer to them real quick. Let's see. A whole bunch. So, Paunovic is supposedly some sort of tournament coach. Has yet to win an MLS tournament in any capacity, and right now maybe the best chance left is this Cruz Azul and winning like 2 games in that whatever the heck that weird tournament is.
Yeah,
and that might be his only way to restake his claim as a tournament coach. Because right now, jury's out on that, and he has won a World Cup, but we are seeing a coach that just gets beat by not the best consistently. What do you think about that?
Sorry, I just got a text. 2 other fans confirmed what Jordy said. Who one of them I know for a fact was sober, and the other one, I don't know. Just 2 very detailed tweets. This is just disappointing.
Yeah.
You know what? This team it's not a good team. It's a very struggling team, right? People don't go to games. We're a laughing stock in MLS. People don't even know this team exists in the city. There's a billion solutions for that, but at the end of the day, no one knows who we are, right?
This team is on thin ice.
And when one of your young players who grew up here, who knows the team,
grew up in Lamont,
who's gotten coddled his way up to soccer, I'm gonna say.
Wait, we gotta say, I mean, he's definitely good enough. He's a damn good player. He's better than me.
Sure, I mean, he's better than me too. But at the same time, when you grow up privileged, when your daddy is head of whatever for U.S. soccer and has all this money to put you in these travel teams, there's a billion kids out there who are probably better than Jordy growing up, who never had an opportunity to play. And that's coming back to the biggest problem in this country is this pay-to-play nonsense that we have. And, we could do an hour podcast on that. But I don't think we need to get into that now. But I mean, man, this is.
Let's get into that. Let's tear into that. We can deviate from this ugly fire match that we've kind of already. We've put our stamp on that it was not good. It was not good to watch, and it was a poor result for everybody involved. A poor effort, and Paunovic should be fired.
Let's give a shout out to all the fans real quick who traveled. I don't know if any of them are able to watch, but honest to God, you took probably a day off of work or whatever you did. I don't know, maybe school.
I thought about it. Yeah, absolutely.
You took time to go to St. Louis, Missouri, which is not even St. Louis. Outside of St. Louis, it's already a boring city.
The armpit of America.
Yeah.
Definitely props to to Section 8 and those fans that traveled. And
Sector Latino, yeah.
Hopefully, this is a bad situation, man.
This is. This is just very shocking.
Here's what Jiggly's saying. I absolutely got to read. Jiggly's got some money comments. Blah 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 blah. I thought Dax and Gaitan looked like they cared. No one else looked any good. We have USL keepers. Why not get and John Smith said, why not get one of those USL goalies? Either one of them. The one who was playing tonight, this was his first start of the season, but he was like the 2016 and 2017 goalie of USL. But he lost the starting privileges for this season apparently after a goalie battle. What do you think?
I mean, so going back to these USL goalkeepers, I remember when I was in Cincinnati and Mitch Hildebrandt shut down the fire in penalty kicks. Everyone wanted him to come play, everyone's like, oh, he's an MLS quality keeper. He ended up going to Atlanta United, and I don't think he even started a game for them. And now I don't even think he's on MLS roster. I think he's in USL. These guys have these games happen where these guys have really good performances, right? And as we talked about earlier, the Fire played like crap tonight. Imagine who knows if these keepers can even keep up against like a good team. In my opinion, it takes a good goalkeeper, but it's also going to take a good defense, an inspired team, an inspired manager. We have a good goalkeeper. David Ousted is fine.
Absolutely, David Ousted is fine. I don't know why they got Kronholm. I was fine with them getting Kronholm, but to see the way they've used Kronholm and the way they've just tossed aside Ousted when he was clearly the better keeper and the hot hand. Paunovic threw away the hot hand. What an idiot!
I know. There's a graphic that MLS put out too of like top goalkeepers with clean sheets in MLS, and he was on there. This was like last week.
It's criminal, and this is Paunovic. It falls on Paunovic. This falls on Nelson. This falls on the structure. All this that we're seeing, this rot and this degradation. And like what Jiggly said, he says Dax and Gaitan seem to be the only guys who gave a damn out there about their game tape. Maybe even Brandt. Those guys who have heart, and they were like, you know what? We are more than whatever this is. And props to those players for standing up. Sorry, hold on, I can't hear you, Matt.
It's all right. No, Brandt showed some passion out there with that shoulder he threw. He looked pissed off, and he was ready to go. This, I'm not going to call out names, but there was just numerous players out there just did not look like they cared at all.
Let me read off. I'm going to mute you again. Hold on. Let me read off a little bit more. Jiggly's comments. Nico does not want to be here. Basti does not want to play anymore. And nothing will happen.
Get rid of Nico. Get rid of him.
I can't say that he's not one of the ones that tries. It's just the end result right now is not there. I like Sapong too.
Oh, I love CJ Sapong. He's a great player and he's a great guy too.
You're frustrated, man.
I am. Well,
dude,
I'm really good.
All of us.
Do you see this?
What?
Police tweet.
What
it's so weird. It's so weird how the Fire have 2 years in a row have summed down something absolutely to piss off fans, right? Oh, this has nothing to do with Pride Night. What did that have to do with Pride Night? What happened?
It almost was there.
I mean, I thought it was just a tweet about how Fire, the Fire have managed to, do something. Just they've always ceased to just amaze me of just how pathetic their organization has been over the past 10 years since we last won an Open Cup.
How they just keep fumbling the ball. There's like Rasham Salam times I don't know 3.
I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss. I literally wish I had more to contribute. I'm just like,
here, I'll keep throwing comments at you because you've been doing great responding. Georgie has no business doing what he did, is what El Roto says.
He's look. Brent Wynn made a good comment I just read, and I'm gonna take a step back here for a second and put myself in his shoes. Guy gets cut from the U.S. Gold Cup squad, and goes to a completely different environment now and just had a very frustrating game. Sure, you know what? Fine, that's fine. But guess what? You don't tell fans to go after themselves.
You don't.
You just say, hey, you know what, guys?
Ever.
We're sorry. We're sorry.
Wow, dude.
And unless somebody says something personal about him, right? Maybe about a personal issue about his family. I don't know. Just something bad, right?
Yeah.
It's all
that's unacceptable.
It's a case-by-case scenario. If somebody did that, sure, right? You have every right to tell somebody that. But if someone's booing you or disappointed that you guys just had one of the worst performances I've ever seen the Fire have in an Open Cup game, I mean, hell, at least against Cincinnati, they showed up, right? They showed up, and that was a hostile environment on national TV in a quarterfinal, right? In a quarterfinal. Not your first round game in the month of June.
Honestly, this team just looked like they were not prepared, and we're in June. They've had March, April, and May, and we are in June, and this team played a USL squad and just got destroyed. And we're supposed to go play Cruz Azul, a Liga MX side. They should destroy us.
Just embarrassing. There's no excuses for this.
I'll read off some funny comment. Soccer Eagle says, you got White Claw?
No, I told him a $10 bottle.
You said I have a $10 bottle of vodka.
Not that much, though. I'm taking it easy. I had a crazy weekend, so.
This is just... There were some positives today. U.S. women's national team put 13 past Thailand.
I didn't watch it. And the Thailand team, their whole team plays for the Thai Women's League, which isn't anything to write home about.
Let's see. But still, 13, that's an embarrassing number. And
That's what you should be.
I'm not embarrassed for Thailand. I'm not. Are we embarrassed for the women's national cup? Because maybe I saw people saying that it should be 8 or 12 teams. I don't know. I think that, but 13-0 is bad, and maybe there should be less teams. Is that a bad thing to say?
Sorry, someone tweeted this out, and go look at the Fire. Go look at this tweet, the one where the Fire lost, and then just look at the replies.
All right, I'll pull it up.
Look at this one from FIFA. Delete club.
If we were playing FIFA, you why wouldn't you?
This is so bad. This is so bad.
All right, I'm gonna read some comments here. This is from halftime. Brian Sandolau was saying this is the biggest 45 minutes of the Fire season coming up, and they lost. Juan Pimiento, 2-0 at St. Louis at halftime. The swing of confidence after the 2 goals and Kapelhoff's injury was amazing to watch. Fire went from dominant, relaxed to nervous and frustrated in 7 minutes. This is all the markings of a Cupset, an upset, and a major black eye for Chicago Fire. Soccer Eagles saying, "Oh my God, this field is an abomination." That field was horrendous to look at.
It was bad. It reminded me of the old North Central College days, and Steve Passmore was like, it looks like we're at a community college right now,
and playing about as good. And playing about as good soccer. Hot Ham saying Cap and Marcelo is the weirdest center back pairing. 2 forward playing passing center backs that can't defend for crap. Not surprised we look better now with Lillard in. And that's because Johan went down. Doug saying I can totally see how we're going to pack the 40 to 50,000. How we're going to pack in 40 to 50,000 in Soldier Field in about 9 months from now. After watching this game.
Yeah.
Jack Santry said this 2 weeks ago, still waiting for Mansueto to step in. I'm sure the Fire want to have a stellar year when they go back to Soldier Field. So at what point does Mansueto just say this Pauno guy isn't good enough and splash some cash on an actual coach? I'd rather give a better coach half of a season to prepare and figure out what he's got than continue on with this tragedy. I added some things.
I have someone edited a clip of the Mihalovic incident if you want it.
Play it.
1 second.
Why not? We're the Fire News in a degree. But also a long-form discussion podcast.
Let's see.
Why? What did that accomplish, Georgie? You know what? I hope he comes out. Hopefully, he just comes out with an apology. He says he made a horrible mistake.
He needs to apologize to the fans and make some sort of donation or something. I don't know.
Get a puppy.
There's a really good video. Sorry, my roommate Kyle, also a disappointed Fire fan, just walked in. Of Steven with the video, and Steven's,
like you can see it.
It's in our Banter Buddies group chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can clearly tell he says that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. You can hear it.
It's juicy.
It's not good.
Blow it up.
It's not good, and he's got to own this real quick, because if he doesn't, this is just like. Is there any accountability on this team whatsoever?
No, there's no accountability in this organization.
So what are we supposed to really expect?
Nothing. Expect nothing, and you'll get everything you've ever wanted. I guess that's the only thing you can talk about right now.
Fire fans don't want that. Dude, you know what we want.
I want a new owner. I want a new stadium. I want owner. I want a coach
This team has to constantly move backwards before it goes forward.
How much more backwards can we
Well,
get?
that's what I'm saying. Like, okay,
You want to join? Kyle's gonna
Yeah.
join. This is my roommate, Kyle.
Welcome to the podcast, Kyle.
Hey, how you doing?
Just heads up, we can't swear.
That's fine.
Okay.
We try not.
I think I can swing it.
Okay. Cool.
No, I had a thought earlier, like that Drake meme going around where he's like from the Toronto game where he's like, oh man, darn it, oh shoot. That's how I feel about this game because one, the Fire, we're not going to win the Open Cup. Two, Paunovic can't get out of town soon enough, and it's
pack your bags tonight.
Yeah, man, like that's the last straw. They've been pumping this game up as if it's like, oh, this is all we have because that's what the Open Cup is, and then we don't do anything with it. And they came out, and again, this is, I mean, they just, God bless them. This team is so consistent. They come out guns blazing, don't get a goal. They get so many chances with no goals, and then after about 14 to 15 minutes of chances, they just fall flat and the back line falls apart.
The announcer mentioned, they said, oh, the Fire, their second chance to create MLS. It's like they have all these chances, but they have like not enough goals.
With every roster the Fire have had, we've always created chances. We've never finished them. We're so good at creating chances, our Golden Boot winner sucks. That's how bad we are. The guy who scored like 26 or 27 goals missed like 40 sitters.
And that was in a year of no chances.
Yep.
The amount of
insane stuff. This team is an anomaly.
The amount of chances that they create this year compared to that Golden Boot year, it's like threefold. But yet,
it's
no
unbelievable.
goals.
Yeah, with between Gaitan and everybody else, man, it's like
it was like when Mike McGee kind of lost his touch, you know, and when he won MVP.
One of our Ahan was saying in the last podcast that there might have been some like background stuff that played into Mike McGee's loss of confidence there.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just like, I'll never forget this year being behind the goal for the first half of Fire NYCFC, where it was just constant. There were probably 25, 30 chances. The whole game, you're just like going like this, like, come on, like the team, they're bringing everybody up, they're bringing everybody in the box, who's coming in the box, and nothing. Just nothing. Barely a chance. And you're like, oh my God, how is this possible? The final third just has never made sense to this team. And I think it's been different throughout the years. It's one thing to have Nico missing sitters and all that stuff, but lately it just seems like there's like the 1-2 connection inside the box, whatever that final pass between two guys is just not a thing that exists.
Well, going off that, there's like I saw CJ and I was like, where's the creativity? Where's the creativity here? These guys are like knocking on the door, but literally they have no idea. And then I saw CJ try something, like he was like, I'll try to pull the ball off my foot and bounce it off the defender and see if I can make like a weird ricochet happen and I can dribble past him. And I'm like, that's like the ideas that they have to come up with.
That was kind of like what Mihalovic was supposed to be, like a little bit more of a creator. That's what Gaitan is supposed to be. That's what they kind of the electricity. And it just I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
There's so many cooks in the kitchen that there weren't any cooks in the kitchen before. And
there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and no one has any rep. No one knows what
I just don't think we have the master chef or the owner
and there's
to
like
make this restaurant work.
The chefs are cooking.
Yeah, but they're leaving they don't know how to cook anything.
But they don't know. You're right. They know how to make they read the recipe, but they don't know how to actually cook.
They're idiots.
But what is the recipe? The recipe's garbage.
Well, the recipe's also garbage. It's fair to say.
Apparently, Section 8 is mad that Steven provoked it. So it's now Stephen Passmore's fault that Jordy Mihalovic got mad at Fire fans.
And told Fire fans to fuck themselves.
Oh wow!
This is great.
That's such a great narrative.
Come on. How?
I love it, dude. This group
is the worst. This is one of the. I love this team more than any soccer team in the world. I don't know why. I don't like half of our fans. I don't like our front office. I don't like our coach. Our players are telling my friends to go F themselves. It's just what are we? What?
Where do you get this? This should be like a YouTube drama channel. The Fire need to tap into this. Jiggly was really trying to actually float this idea, and I thought it was a great one. That Sunderland till I die one, the Fire need one, because this is just a tragedy of comedic proportions.
Just them walking into a locker room that is probably the worst in Major League Soccer, next to a weight room that has 4 dumbbells and a curling iron. Nothing,
our facilities are so bad too. They're some of the worst in MLS.
Their medical facility that probably looks like an animal shelter.
Did you guys catch the Lavelle Palmer episode? He was talking about that. He was saying that literally going to play at the Fire, he was like, this sucks. And that's what made him love the fans even more, because going to it already now as a player, because it's so horrible, is hard enough, let alone going there as a fan.
Well, that was the whole thing that came out with Drogba and stuff. It was we can't.
Can you hold it down for 5 minutes and get my laundry?
Yeah, it's fine.
I want my laundry to get stolen. One time, Kyle got his laundry stolen.
I did get my laundry stolen.
Yeah,
for a month.
I have some. I have all my clothes in there. It's funny. All right, I'll be right back.
Get on that.
Yeah, with the Drogba stuff, it kind of came out the facilities were garbage, and I think even Jermaine Jones, who wanted to come here, was Major League Soccer looked at it and were we can't put players here. This isn't a facility that most professional players want to play in. And to be Nico Gaetan or Bastian Schweinsteiger or somebody who's played in world-class facilities and stuff to come to this, that doesn't cost a lot of money when you're considering the kind of players you're trying to go for. A facility's nothing. That's
they could have put down 1 or 2 million, half of $1 million to make it somewhat desirable. But
especially when you're considering the Fire
pitches in Illinois that outclass the Chicago Fire's training pitch, and that is criminal.
I think, man, it's very true. When a few things to consider too, you could be oh, well, the Fire are trying to leave Toyota Park, but they've had before this year, I don't think they ever thought about leaving Toyota Park in that contract until 2036 or whatever. Do you think you were just going to keep that same facility till 2036? Why wouldn't you get? Everybody else has one. Every team that I don't get it. I don't get anything about this franchise. I don't get anything other than that's why you come to the conspiracy theory that they're tanking on purpose, because it's how could you think anything different? It doesn't make any sense. We have no support. The team doesn't care. We don't succeed. The team doesn't care. They go and they get Gaetan and they have fines. They go and now they're spending money to win and they can't even do that still.
Well, they got Paunovic employed. And the other thing is the only successful general manager they really had was Peter Wilt, who was able to who knows how to get things off the ground. But after that, these tenant general managers that they've had since then
to get the LLC,
worse than garbage.
It's an embarrassing. Well, they have JD Power and Associates Awards, so back off a little bit there.
Yeah, right.
They got trophies.
I'm what does that mean, Nelson?
Mm-hmm. None of these. Oh, and they're up for an ESPY. So
for what? For greatest tragedy in sports.
I wish. This is pretty funny. I think it's for some chair. For the Fire Foundation or something.
They are involved in a lot of aspects of youth football in Chicago and in the area. But at the same time, it's they could be doing so much more. I just don't understand why the mecca of football is in Kansas City and not in Chicago when the U.S. Federation is literally right up Michigan Avenue or right there.
Yeah, you walk past that building and it's they don't even it's actually across the street from Soldier Field, ironically.
And you would have no idea.
No, you wouldn't. No, you sure wouldn't. Excuse my French. You sure wouldn't. No, this whole club is nothing but irony, and that's why it's going into the game tonight. I almost didn't even want to put it on. I was at work. I was if they win, it's oh, congrats, you did what you were supposed to do. If they lose, it's oh, I expected that. There's nowhere to go for this franchise because you just know, okay, they beat St. Louis. Who they're gonna lose to next. They used to at least make a run in this cup, especially considering where they are in the MLS the last 4 or 5 years. You'd expect it, and they did. They put their best out there for the most part, and they still didn't do anything.
I'm gonna put the MLS pundits on blast because they have turned a blind eye to the Fire because they think the Fire are an anomaly. Stexel, we've had on the podcast before. Tenorio, none of these guys. Parchment, anybody who talks MLS, they're not talking about the Fire, and it's like they're avoiding talking the Fire, in my opinion. And they're willing. Look at FC Cincinnati. Look how terrible they are. Look at the Fire and how terrible they are and how good they should be.
That is, it's one thing, to say how good they should be, or at least better than they are now.
It's way better.
Is an interesting conversation for MLS pundits because, and you're right, they don't talk, and it's been going on for a while that nobody's talking about the fall of the Chicago Fire. The only, every once in a while they come into the news when some rumor comes out, and lately it was the whole stadium deal. Everybody had an opinion on that. Taylor Twellman halftime stuff on major networks,
Actually, we had Matt was with us. You guys were with us last time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Taylor Twellman was going to talk about it, and it was like, oh, that was such a big deal, and then now it's just all in the wind. It's like, what came of that? What's getting solidified here?
Nothing. And I, as a season ticket holder, I'm left wondering, like, what's going on next year? Are we moving to Soldier Field? What's going on? But yet I've heard all these rumors.
Oh, I can't wait to see them release ticket prices like 2 weeks before the season starts.
And have nobody show up.
They haven't even like opened up a ticket booth for tickets like 2 weeks before the season starts.
Oh my god!
Because they're so behind on the process. Yeah, they're just now hiring graphic designers and things like that for a rebrand.
They're so far behind.
Which you don't need to do. If you're smart, you can honestly do a graphic design, some sort of not necessarily a competition, but you could do a little bit of field work with a lot of different people with different ideas. You don't have to hire one person and then rely on the designs from one person. But
it's a great point because it's going to end up costing them probably over $1 million just to have a redesign of their stupid goddamn logo. And when they could really crowdfund this for one of the many Chicago Fire fans, if Peter Wilt was in charge of this, he'd be like, why are we spending money on this pointless stuff when we could reallocate those money elsewhere and rely on the intelligence of our fans? Guess what? There's a smorgasbord of fans out there, and plenty of them smart and creative. We can tap into that for pretty cheap here, and that's, I don't know, smart business sense.
I mean, honestly, it almost sounds unprofessional, but do what you did with the third kit where you had like fans submit what they want to do.
Well, are you talking about the Chicago Sky Flag third kit from like years ago, 2014 season? Because that is the best kit. Everybody, whenever I wear that kit, people are like, "Oh, where did you get that? That is sick!" Because they recognize the Chicago flag, and then the Chicago flag knit hat. They love that too. And I'm like, "Oh, the Chicago Fire," and they're like, "Who?"
And then you never saw it again. With the black and everything, it's a great jersey. I have one of those, and like they're rare as hell now. And you could crowdfund not crowdfund is the right term, but do what you do with the third jersey, where people submit their ideas.
Crowdsource,
exactly, and have people look at them, and the Fire will get an easy idea of what the fans really love, and they'll pay that guy. Say, hey, you do the rebrand, we'll pay $50,000, which is probably a third of what you're going to pay an in-house.
Here, you just won season tickets for the next 2 seasons.
You're right, yeah, or for life or whatever.
Something like that. It's so easy. Are you? And
it's so much, and because the fans are the ones that are involved, like the fans themselves are going to be more involved in the vote because they care. Because a lot of the supporters that do it, like if I did it or Moot did it or whoever, all of our friends who are supporters would chime in on the same thing and support it or not. So it is, if you want to get, and it's just like, oh yeah, these are great ideas for the Fire to get the fan integrated with the franchise. But it's just like every time you turn a corner, it's like, oh wait, do they even want us involved or what?
It's a great question because all indications seem no. They want us gone, try to kick us out, try to kick certain groups out. It's all of it. Hold on, I got people. I got some comments that I got to catch up on here. Let's rip into these comments.
Oh, yeah,
blah 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 blah. We already talked about what Mihailovic said. Every successful MLS team has a proper training facility. This is from Ahan.
Yeah.
Kansas City, Atlanta, Portland.
Seattle. I mean, places with NFL teams, obviously, even New England. I mean, I'm sure they have access to that in one shape or form or another. But LAFC, amazing facility. The list goes on. And that's the thing about the Fires. Like, the funny thing is like 2005, 2006, having a soccer-specific stadium was a big deal. And so the Fire would consider themselves at the top of the league in quality because they had their own soccer-specific stadium. Regardless of location, whatever, it's a beautiful pitch. They take really good care of the grass. Everything was always in great shape. That was enough. And then 9, 10, 11, Portland, Seattle. Then you get these new franchises. Kansas City, they start getting these facilities. Fire
By the way, since then, Portland has already redone their facility, their entire stadium.
And now we're at the bottom.
To make it look like La Bombonera over in Argentina.
Right.
So I know a kid who used to go to Fire games when he was younger, who now plays for Atlanta United's U19 team. And his Instagram, he's very active on Instagram, and all of his stories are him at their facilities, which are unbelievable.
Let's talk about Atlanta. I wanted to ask you about it.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go on about the Atlanta facilities.
Yeah. So, they're gorgeous facilities. They have recovery hot tubs. They have proper training staff. They have proper training facilities and fields. Everything is new and up to date and nice and makes you want to be around it, not just some locker room in Bridgeview, Illinois. It makes the Fire look like a minor league team, to be honest with you.
It makes you want to go to work and want to go to play soccer instead of what the Fire have, which is just like a place where you're just like, I'll show up.
I'll show up. Yeah, sure, great. Whatever. I mean, look, there are some guys that really love playing in the city of Chicago, and that's great. I want those guys here, but I want guys who don't play for the Fire, who are good, who do want to come here, right? That's what we need, and that's what we should be focusing on. Not everyone's going to be a Brant Bronico who's going to become friends with fans who's going to want to continue to play here, right? Or a Logan Paz or a Gonzalo Cigars.
Or Lavelle Palmer.
Right? Or Lavelle Palmer. Not every team has that, right? And as great as those guys are, they aren't necessarily the cream of the crop of MLS. No disrespect to any of them because they're all really great people. But if we want the cream of the crop of MLS and those guys on our team, we need the proper facilities. We need the proper training staff. We need the proper front office. And we don't have any of that yet. And I don't think we will under the Andrew Hummon ownership while we're in Bridgeview and even while we're playing at Soldier Field, to be quite honest with you.
Wow. What a ball.
What a ball. Wow. Sorry. LAFC.
2-0.
I don't know who passed that, but that was one of those beautiful passes I've seen in MLS.
It's probably the T blessing to lead.
Was it an English-looking pass?
It was just a really nice through ball. I don't think we're gonna get a replay.
It was a through ball with a dummy.
Here, let's see.
At the top of the box. Yeah, blessing.
Wow.
Blessing dummy in the wind.
Literally.
Yes, ma'am.
One touch and then
sports point.
And how come we never see this stuff out of the Fire? Like, they create chances, but we never see
they don't create
types of goals.
They don't create a lot of space. The Fire don't find them. Like, David Accam found himself in open space. I haven't seen a Fire player like in open space like often. The only thing I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure you could pull up footage of it, but like, I just remember Nico being awkwardly wide open and then not knowing what to do about it. I just remember the bad things. So maybe it's partially that, but I feel like when the Fire get to the top of the box and they pass around and they try to look for space, they don't find it.
I got a comment here from El Rodo. The Fire have no identity. We need to improve our youth academy, develop our players, and stop buying useless European players. Is he talking about Basti?
Well, no, that's a business. That's a business investment.
They needed to get him.
I agree.
And by youth development, I don't mean you. I'm hoping you don't mean develop U.S. players. I mean do what Atlanta did and have a facility and go buy players from South America or somewhere else, like Carlos Martinez or anybody else that you can develop into a great player. Not drafting all the players from the Big Ten.
Wow, dude, you just said it though. But Atlanta's tapped into a network. They're like, let's snag talent. Let's not just snag American talent. We got a couple of these guys from America, but let's set up a facility that's world class, amazing. We'll go snag some South American kids as well.
Yep.
Why are the Fire not doing this?
I don't know. I love Atlanta United. I think they're awesome. Their fans are great. Their tailgates are great. Their stadium's great. It's a different league than the Fire. I was there last week, 2 weeks ago. It's every time I go down there, it's always the greatest soccer game I've been to. And I've seen Gold Cup games. I've seen Copa America games. I've seen Liverpool play twice. Their atmosphere and their passion does not match any of it.
What is their atmosphere like? Like, what are they singing to get the fans involved?
They don't need to sing anything. They're all first of all, nobody sits throughout the whole game. Mm-hmm. Everyone stands. And guess what? If you want to sit for a bit, no one whines about you standing up during the game like people in Chicago do. That's not just Fire fans, it's Cub fans. We dealt with it on Sunday. Second of all, they all show up there really early to tailgate. They take their football tailgates that they have and they turn them into soccer. A lot of the people that I hang out with down there aren't soccer fans. These aren't people watching Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Barcelona, Madrid. These are college football fans. They're like Auburn. Specifically the people that I hang out with. One of them is a big soccer fan, but the other two that I would say I'm closest with are huge college football fans who don't watch these European games. They don't try to Anglophile and Europeify an American sports team. They just do their own thing, and all these MLS hipsters think it's a bad thing that Atlanta United's too American and American outlaw for U.S. soccer support. But it's not. It's original, and it's not.
They just like
it's not the same garbage that we get from Portland.
It's like being in a city that doesn't have a sports team, and you got a sports team, and it's like, oh, it's soccer. All right, I guess that's what we like, and then everybody grows to like it. Because Atlanta, for whatever reason, is a city that really wanted soccer. I mean, maybe they like soccer more than I thought they did. But they just
fooled me. I went to a Silverbacks game. No one was there.
Yeah. And that also says, I mean, they have the Atlanta Braves, and the Atlanta Braves were world class back in the Greg Maddox days.
I think people identify with the Falcons too, and having like a professional stadium in a good area. I think, and having cheap concessions. The same reasons people went to NFL, and it was a way to go to that stadium for cheaper than going to an NFL game, maybe.
Tell me about those cheap concessions, because I keep retweeting this. I'm like, Chicago Fire, you are idiots. This low-hanging fruit is right there.
I mean, I got a vodka soda for like $9, which is kind of expensive but like, at a stadium, that's really cheap, and that's Chicago bar
their
prices.
Family, I mean, their cheap food is like hot dogs and like family food stuff.
I was gonna get some Chick-fil-A, but I decided
not. They have $5 beers, I thought.
They do, but I didn't want to drink beer because I was drinking hard liquor all day. I didn't want to get sick.
And I haven't been there, but there's like, it could be a bit of a trick because I was in, I used to live in LA, and the whole spiel is that Anaheim has the cheapest beers, where you can get a beer for $4 or $5 or whatever, but it's like half the size of what a beer you would normally get.
No, you get a bottle of like beer, like one of those aluminum bottles of like Mick Ultra or Bud Light that you get in Wrigleyville.
Yeah,
that's $6.
No, it's not. No,
in Atlanta it is.
In Atlanta it is.
Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, in Anaheim it is not.
Atlanta,
I got one of those small beers in Anaheim. It stunk.
Yeah, that was.
I did get Panda Express at the game though.
Yeah, well, that's the best. That's the best deal in sports. West Coast baseball stadiums have Panda prices in the stadium.
Yeah,
and it is the best.
Yeah. And Atlanta has Chick-fil-A.
I know. I walked by it, but I don't know why I didn't go wait in line. I just didn't.
That's wild. But the Fire don't have anything like that. The Fire needs something. They're like, we need something Chicago-based and some sort of, I don't know if it's ribs by the fire pit. They need something distinctly Chicago to kind of, I don't know, to make besides all the other stuff, to make the experience at the stadium feel better. What do you guys think about how to improve the stadium experience?
Team up with, first of all, we need to put this into a scenario. If we move to Soldier Field next year, which I think we are, we need to do like some sort of like food truck stuff outside of these games beforehand. Some sort of festival. Big tailgate.
Firefest, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All over again?
But let's say a hypothetical situation, we don't play at Soldier Field. We either have our own stadium or stay at Toyota Park, right? We're playing at a soccer-specific stadium. Let's not think about where it is. We team up with Lou Malnati's or Giordano's. Or Connie's Pizza or whatever.
Vito and Nick needs help.
And get your head out of your butts and make concessions cheap, because that's what's going to get families and lower income people out to games. Because like it or not, that's your target audience. Your higher audience, the upper tier of people who can afford to go to sports games, aren't going to Fire games. They are going to Cubs games. They are going to Blackhawks games. They're going to Bears games. They're not going to Fire games.
But none of those teams, the Cubs, the White Sox, none of these guys really have fan-friendly prices. They all have gouge prices.
No, but we walk to Wrigley Field, so we just do everything beforehand.
Yeah,
but that's the other thing. Wrigley Field has other aspects that make you not minding to pay that. And Comiskey Park does not have that. They don't have Wrigleyville. And Wrigleyville is what you need, I think. You need to somehow make your own.
I mean, that's the original. The original reason beers are so expensive used to be because you couldn't drink anywhere outside the stadium, and now it's just kind of like the norm that when you go to an American sporting event that you're going to pay $10 for a beer. So we've kind of been lulled into that acceptance of that $40 gets you drunk at a freaking baseball game or whatever. But
not even drunk, gets you on the edge.
Drunk for the first 3 innings, and then you're like, gosh, I'm still watching a baseball game. Which I love baseball, but I mean, like if you're at the White Sox game, it can be. And
if you're at the White Sox game, you really like baseball.
Oh, you love baseball. Yeah.
I don't mind going to White Sox.
I actually ironically go to White Sox games because it's cheap. But
I'm a White Sox fan. I love the White Sox. I'm a Cubs fan as well, but I root for the White Sox every time the White Sox play the Cubs. And if I had to choose to go a game, Wrigley Field is definitely a better experience overall comparatively to White Sox Park. But still, I mean, White Sox are my team, so I support the White Sox.
For like a family or like anyone who doesn't live a stone's throw away from Wrigley Field. I mean, hell, the 2 apartment buildings that we're looking at literally block our view of the stadium. And they're on every video game, every photo you see of Wrigley are literally these 2 buildings in front of us.
My buddy lived at some stadium right by Wrigley Field, and Joakim Noah came over to their house to play like video games and stuff and watch the Cubs game or something like that way back on the beach because they won something. They're like looking at Wrigley Field's center scoreboard there.
So I wanted to follow up on your point about Soldier Field and just saying, screw it, make the prices as cheap as you want just to get people in. This is assuming that the city of Chicago doesn't charge the Chicago Fire an arm, leg, head, and 6 fingers for whatever the hell they want to let us play there.
This is the city of Chicago. They're going to charge them a body in the trunk.
They're going to ream the Fire to play at Soldier Field. And we've been going to debt for how long? We just paid $60 million or whatever it was to get out of Bridgeview. What are we going to pay to play in the city of Chicago?
So I think the biggest problem with these fan-friendly prices at Fire games at Soldier Field is the fact that something I really just thought about until now. So our buddy Lou works for Levy Restaurants, who runs everything at Wrigley Field. So the price for beer at Wrigley Field for a Cubs game is the same price as it is for a concert or when they play a random football game or a hockey game there like they have in the past. It's all going to be the same prices because Levy Restaurants controls those prices. So our buddy Lou is not an employee of the Chicago Cubs. He's an employee of Levy Restaurants who allows him to sell hot dogs in the stands as a vendor. If that makes sense. So it's not the organization per se that 100% controls these prices. It's on a stadium-by-stadium basis.
Right.
Levy Restaurants has a monopoly on the city of Chicago when it comes to controlling these stadium prices, with the exception of Toyota Park, which is ran by somebody else. I'm not 100% sure on their name. But it's 100% up essentially to the stadium of how much they're going to cost. So, like, you go to a Blackhawks game at the United Center, you're going to get a cup that has has a Hawks and a Bulls logo on it because it's the same vending company that charges the Hawks as they do the Bulls. It's the same prices for everything. Every food item's the same. So what it's going to take is, ironically, getting the Chicago Bears involved with these fan-friendly prices. I don't see that happening whatsoever. But hypothetical situation, again, we either, again, stay at Toyota Park, get our own stadium. I think definitely family-friendly prices and being the working man's team, the middle-class team, per se, of the city of Chicago would be extremely beneficial for the Fire, and honestly a very smart business decision. Because one, they're trying to compete now with Cubs and White Sox games. It's not working. It's never going to work. You're never going to outdraw a Cubs game in the summertime.
Never.
You're never going to outdraw a White Sox game on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because I saw that during a game day during the week, and the White Sox had maybe 500 fans in there, and Fire games had way more fans.
Absolutely, and that does happen quite a bit. But it's, I think you'll agree with me. It's unfair to compare a midweek, snowy White Sox makeup game to, a Saturday night Fire game in June.
Right, when you got like 78 of them to choose from too.
Right. I'm looking at, if you want to look at attendance numbers and compare them amongst the three teams that are playing right now in the city, the Fire, Cubs, and White Sox, you have to look at their Saturday afternoon attendances when two games are going on. Look at the percentages. There's just so much to dive into.
Right.
But I guarantee you the Fire have never outdrawn the White Sox or the Cubs whenever one team is in town, one's in
the White Sox and Cubs are both a lot more readily available on TV than the Cubs.
Absolutely. TV, and they're just established franchises in the city. They're just established. They're established. It's what's this?
How long do you think this is going to last in Atlanta? Because it didn't last in Orlando.
I went to two United games last year. One was just a regular season game, and I went to a playoff game. So I'm not going to take the playoff game out because it's a playoff game. The regular season game I went to was a lot livelier than the regular season game I went to this year. From what I understand from a lot of my friends down there, a lot of the fans have gotten spoiled with the success that they had last year. Their expectations are a little bit too high. It's just not the same as it was. It's still one of the best atmospheres in MLS. 10 years from now, I don't think it's going to be what it is right now. And the reason why I say that is because I look at the 90s Braves and how the 90s Braves would sell out all of their games. But once the Braves got kind of crappy, people stopped going. Now, to be fair, it was really hot outside, and, that Georgia sun is very unforgiving, and it is indoor. But even if you double the attendance that those Braves teams had when they weren't very good, it's still, you're still not going to fill up a Mercedes-Benz Stadium with that kind of numbers. But, I hope it keeps up. It's good for the league. It's good for other teams. I like seeing what LAFC is doing. Orlando still has a pretty decent atmosphere for, how they've kind of per se fallen off. The Galaxy have a 30,000-seat stadium that they pack quite well, that people also forget about.
What about Seattle?
Yeah, Seattle. They're great. Portland, I criticize them a lot for kind of how cringy their fans are, but they do pack their stadium and they are loud. New York City FC and Red Bull, I'm not even going to talk about them. They're a joke. Cincinnati does really well, and I don't know what – Cincinnati is kind of weird to me. I don't understand that at all. I don't know why they're popular or how they became popular. There's nothing to do in Cincinnati, so that's probably
there it is.
Why.
There it is.
What?
There it is. There's nothing to do in Cincinnati.
And the Cincinnati Reds stink. So I think, maybe that has to do with it too.
I got a couple comments. Rhoda was saying, let me rephrase that. We need to stop buying useless non-American players that don't improve the squad in any way. We should only buy a non-American if he's the right choice. Okay, El Rodo, when he's talking about players that don't improve the squad in any way, that's a hard judgment call for a lot of these things, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Sorry, something else happened.
He's saying stop buying useless non-American players. I'm like,
but like
what?
But like who? I mean, Nico was a good signing at the time. He was for a year. You can't argue that.
No.
Nico Gaetan is another good signing. Schweinsteiger is a good signing.
This lineup is exciting.
Other than this German goalkeeper, in the past 3 years, we haven't made a bad European. We haven't really made any bad signings. I don't think. This is not a bad team.
I think there's a.
They're not lately, especially.
Yeah, Kyle brings up a good point. There is an MLS coach that can win a.
There's a coach out there that could do very, very well with this roster.
I agree. There is the coach that could do well with this roster is not on this team. I got to run to the bathroom. Can you guys hold the floor for like 1 or 2 minutes and talk to Pauno or some crap like that?
Yeah. We'll go through. We have some. We'll read our Chicago Fire Facebook group chat.
Dude, it took me a minute here.
All right.
There's a rumor.
What's up, doggies?
There's a rumor of a blackout next week.
So we have a rumor of a blackout. For those who don't know, I'm Matt Dunphy. This is Kyle Downs. We are roommates.
They don't care.
And we're here to read the Bander Buddies chat. So here's a picture of Brant Bronico with some woman.
Ooh. Okay.
That's interesting. Let's see. Steve Passmore is going to be writing an article. That's pretty good to bring up.
Yeah, obviously. There's going to be 45 pages about how Georgi Mihailovic is bad for the Chicago Fire.
Yeah, or something about that performance. According to Edgar Cruz, when the fans went up to him after the game, Nelson Rodriguez, quote, crapped his pants.
Okay.
Apparently, the guy involved with the Jordy incident was Zaire from Banda Roja.
Not surprised.
Apparently, Bronico and Steven Passport had a moment. I'm gonna text Bronico later. I'm around here.
No.
Kind of give him some time.
Yeah, blackout next week.
Yeah.
Get your black shirts on. Get your black.
Which is really good because it's Pride game, so that'll be really nice. That'll be really good to have a bunch of people wearing all black.
We did this last time, and it turned out bad. Last time we did black, I'm pretty sure it was during Pride Night for Pauno out, and now we're about to do it again for Hotman out, and now we're going to do it for Pauno out, which is hysterical. I think
I'm probably going to be at that game. I have to work at Bounce.
I think I have a wedding.
Anyway, so neither of us will be there.
So we're protesting.
Yeah, this is how we're protesting, by going to work and going to a wedding.
Mm-hmm. Something enjoyable.
All right. So little bit of breaking news. Apparently, Sector Latino is preparing to wear all black next week in protest of Paunovic.
Really?
Yeah, that's the rumor.
I think they're going to start trying to make that happen.
We need these Wenger outposters. Where are our Wenger outposters?
Yeah, we need to do something. We just need a massive banner, just like this is unacceptable.
And of course, it's sad that Paunovic is becoming the object of our vitriol, but right now it's like we got to force something to happen, and he's the easiest Jenga piece to dislodge.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, he's the last one. I mean, it's like the Fire have kind of been doing things we were asking for. We wanted a number 10. We wanted this. And they go get players on the field, but they haven't gotten rid of Paunovic yet.
We have a great team. I love this roster.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love this roster that we have.
We don't have outside backs, arguably. Campos got exposed. He's not at an MLS level right back, nor is he a USL level right back.
Kapelhoff was terrible again today. He just keeps getting worse. Almost had an own goal today, which was ridiculous.
I don't think Kapelhoff
was with Kapelhoff.
I don't think Kapelhoff's been very good at all.
He's a bum. He's a bum now.
He's been having a bad year.
Because it was like, oh, well, we need a couple center backs and maybe a right back, but at least we have Kapelhoff. And then it's like, oh, Kapelhoff's a freaking bum now too.
And what about Marcelo, who just got whooped a few times by some USL level wingers?
He looks confused 45% of the time, which is not a good number. He's just confused.
And Paunovic decides to start Kronholm. We were talking about that with Moot.
I saw a corner. There's a corner today by the Fire where Marcelo found himself at the back post, like on the goal line, offensively. And I'm like, who has you there? What are you doing there? It made I feel like he's just lost. He's like
this whole team looks lost.
Yeah, his whole team. No formation in any stretch. Dax and Basti sure don't run anything anymore. If anybody does, it's Basti, but Dax sure has no freaking impact on what's happening.
No, he tries though. Everybody toss in your last comment, smash that like button, share, retweet this. We always appreciate it. We follow us on iTunes. We're also on Stitcher. If you guys want to download us, smash that like button. Toss in your final comments here though for everybody. Is it Kyle?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Kyle. You too, Moot.
Final thoughts.
We stink.
I hate to say it, but hilarious.
Yeah, it is kind of, I mean, one thing I've learned in life is anytime something bad happens, sometimes you just got to laugh. And, this is one of those situations.
Like, why would I expect anything different right now?
I'm not shocked.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
And probably for the better at some point.
That's all we can hope right now is this is for the better. We got Gendo checking in. Gendo, what's going on, man? Everything. He says everything sucks. John Smith saying, didn't seem like Cap wanted to be here in the offseason. And do you guys have any comments on that?
He's not playing like it now. He's not playing like he wants to be here. So I buy that.
I'm probably going to go live on Facebook at some point tonight on the Fire group. Are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
We should add you to the Chicago Fire discussion group.
Oh,
for sure, man.
It's good. We'll talk about that afterwards. But it's a good way to promote your show too.
For sure.
But I mean, look, this is just disappointing. But as Kyle said, what? Honest to God, did we really expect anything different? And you know what? Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe this is what really just gets Pauno out of here. Because this organization, as much as we criticize Hotman, understands how important this U.S. Open Cup is to our fans. And, this is something that's rooted in our club's history. We have the second most Open Cups in MLS history besides Seattle. And I want to see us win another one in next year. Obviously, this year that's impossible, which is crazy to believe, to be quite honest with you. But it's time for a change. It's time to take things more seriously.
It's well past time for a change.
Get a change going. We're still in a position where we could realistically make the playoffs and make a run with the right manager in charge. Find the right guy. Find the right interim guy who's going to light a fire into these guys' butts and get these guys going, get their egos in check. I'm talking about you, Nikolic.
Damn.
And you know what? Let's go. We're behind this team, but it's also time to, make some tough decisions. And those decisions need to be made now.
El Redo was referring to players like Corrales, Herbers, who really hasn't been given a chance. He says Campos, Kapelhoff, Marcelo. All these players could easily be replaced by Americans. That's apparently what he's saying.
Well,
be replaced by
they could be, but these guys are also on league minimum contracts.
I don't have issues with these players.
No.
It's like Daniel Johnson. He came out and he worked his ass off, and then nothing really came of it. But he was a low grade, pay grade talent that actually
Same with Drew Connor.
Yeah, same with DK. These guys, Bronico, anybody, you give these guys chances. If they don't pan out, that's why you pay them the minimum.
And guess what? Brandt was on the league minimum. I know he was on the league minimum. And guess what? He got a contract extension this year. You want to know why? Because he worked hard, showed up to training every day. He continues to work hard. He doesn't go out and party on game nights. In fact, I asked him this week. I'm like, "You want to meet up He's like, no, man, we have the Open Cup game on Tuesday. I want to make sure I'm rested and well and ready to go. This is on Friday. Game was on Tuesday. That's what we need. We need that kind of attitude in our team.
What about Lucho Solagnac? Remember him? I don't think he's caught on after the fact.
I don't know how much he cared about being here.
He made some great plays. He was a very talented player. I really liked having him. He was fun.
The Cubs got killed.
Oh, they got murdered. Yeah, he diversified the midfield a lot. Made a lot of interesting. There was a couple. Was he the one that scored the goal against St. Louis last time?
Yep.
That bicycle kick.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was him.
Yeah, he had some fun stuff like that where he made himself noticed for sure. He was a big producer for the Fire while he was here. I like Lucho.
I did too.
He's no David Arshakian, but
All right, boys. I think we kind of covered most of everything. El Roto saying, yes, exactly. We need to give more players like Bronico a chance. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Hey, if we're not going to make the playoffs, we might as well let the young boys play and see who shines.
Bring back Drew Connor.
Jiggly says Joey Calistri.
Oh, I love Joe. I love me some Joey Calistri.
Jiggly loves Joey.
Jiggly does love him.
I don't know why.
I'm not gonna argue him.
Joey's a good guy. One time I went to I got $2 beers with him one night.
Was that right?
Yeah. Good guy. At what's that bar in Lincoln Park? Not Halligan's.
Oh, that one bar in Lincoln Park.
The one bar in Lincoln Park.
Jiggly says someday our Khaleesi will return.
Yeah.
It's a Game of Thrones.
He also says that doesn't work anymore.
We do need to sign Italian.
I don't know why. We just do.
Italian.
All right, boys. I'm going to shut it down here, though.
Okay.
Thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. We appreciate it. It's always fun to talk Fires.
Dude, for sure. It's always fun to talk Fire. Hopefully we'll have Fred Hubner sometime on the show in the next few weeks here. We got a couple other people we got lined up. Hopefully we'll figure that kind of stuff out. Follow us on Spitting Fire YT. Smash that like button. Share on Twitter. We always appreciate that. Support Moot. Support everybody we're talking to, and support talking about the Fire. Call in to Fred on the weekend, guys. This guy wants to talk Fire. What do you guys think? Do you guys ever call in?
I used to call in on like 670, but I don't really listen to sports radio that much anymore.
Right.
As much as I should be, but I'm all for it, man. Whoever wants to give the Fire a platform, hell, I'll do it.
Absolutely. All right, boys and girls, fire it down. We'll talk to you guys later. And go U.S. Women's National Team. Keep it going here in the World Cup. All right, we'll see you guys later.
Cheers. See ya. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us, everybody in the chat. And thanks for everybody joining us after the fact. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.